Welcome to Inner Peace with Dr. Reese, a program that can help you become liberated in the modern world. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kevin W. Reese.
Hello. Welcome back to the podcast, the Inner Peace podcast, and I'm laying out a practice for you so that you can use it to attain inner peace, find your inner peace, which is your natural state. Over the course of the last 10 or 11 episodes, I've laid everything out for you, the entire practice. If you're just tuning into this podcast, I highly recommend you go back to episode 1 and start there. Or you start after this episode if you want, that's up to you. Listen to as close to once a day as you can. There's a method to this madness, so to speak. It's a practice. You need to remember it, then understand it, then practice it. Okay. On this episode, I want to talk about inner life versus outer life. I talked about this in the seminar. You have two lives. And that's what we don't understand, especially in the Western world, here in America, UK, Canada, etc. We just don't get it. Because we're so conditioned to go to the church or go to the temple and we worship. Or we're atheist and we don't do anything. What I'm telling you is you have to go inward. That's where your inner life is. When you go to church, when you go to temple, that's your outer life. It's not your inner life. The only way to get to the inner is through your breath, by relaxing, by meditating. The first section of the IPP, which is your centered mind, your conscious eye, and confinement. When your inner life gets in order and becomes beautiful, then guess what? Your outer life will follow. Your outer life really doesn't even matter all that much. It's kind of like if you're rich on the inside, it doesn't matter if you're poor on the outside. But ultimately, it won't matter what your circumstance is. You could be rich in a big house, or you can be poor with no house. Either way, if your inner life is beautiful and you've attained inner peace, it won't matter. It won't matter. Now, of course, we want our outer life to be cool. You know, the catchphrase now on social media is living my best life, hashtag. So I get it. People want to be on the yacht. They want to have nice cars. They want the beautiful spouse on their arm. They want to have extra money to go on vacations. And then they want to turn around and promote that on their Instagram and Facebook and let other people know, hey, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Hello. Can't do that with the inner life. You can't show it off. You can't see it. It's funny, when I met the blue antelope, the mystic at the ashram that became my mentor for 7 years, I only knew something was different about him because I was a seeker and I sensed it, and we were put in the same room. So I was kind of exposed to it. But everyone else in that ashram didn't notice it. He was just a regular dude who was doing residency, and he was cleaning, doing housekeeping. He was living amongst the people, hidden. He wasn't announcing that he was a mystic. He wasn't announcing that he reached his higher self, because words can't really explain it. So I was just lucky to be in the same room, and I sensed it, and based on our combo, and it went from there. But I'm just using that as an example. The big difference between your inner life and your outer life is form. Your inner life is formless, and your outer life is based on form, the material world. Your inner life has no age. No age. Your inner life has no gender. That's why when you see people who are criticizing someone who's gay or trans, it really doesn't matter. The inner life has no gender. It doesn't. That's all ego. People criticizing. Age, of course. People always want to celebrate their birthdays. I'm 30. Yay. There is no age. Your inner life has no time. Time is man-made, right? It's 7 p.m. I gotta go. That was created for society purposes. There really is no time. The birds and the squirrels don't know the time. And our long time ago ancestors didn't know time. It's just sun up, sundown. Sun up, sundown. You get the idea. Time doesn't exist. Inner life has no language. There's no language. Now we're right back to the church and the temples. What do the 3 Abrahamic religions do? They pray, they pray, they pray, they pray. How do you pray? With language. But language was man-made. I'm not saying prayer is bad. Don't get mad at me. I'm not saying prayer is bad. I'm just saying it's not your inner life. It's your outer life. When you speak, it's your outer life. I am speaking into a microphone right now. This is my outer life. And it's being absorbed by your outer life with your ears. Inner life, there's no language. It's silence. That's why confinement is so important. That's why it's part of the inner peace practice. To go into solitude. When the blue antelope told me he couldn't... I call him the blue antelope. I'm just not using his name because I don't know if he'd want his name being said. So I'm calling him the blue antelope. FYI. You can find his website though. blueantelopeproductions.com. A little plug there for him. But, he told me in an email, he said, I'm leaving. Can't talk to you for a while. I don't know when. Maybe ever. I don't know. And I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he said, remember that our journey together is based in silence and solitude. And so it can always be brought back up through that. It's profound. And if you go, you look at every master, every guru through modern times all the way to ancient times, it's the same thing. It's consistent all the way through. Silence, silence, silence. Solitude, solitude, solitude. What I call confinement, because it begins with a C, I wanted all of the inner pieces that begin with a C so that you can remember them. Yeah. Confinement. To go into silence. That's where the answers are. That's when you get those little divine downloads. The blue antelope would call them whispers of the heart. Whispers of the heart. Listen to the whispers of the heart. You know. So there's a very big difference between your inner life and your outer life. Your inner life, there's no form. There's no duality. Right? There's no right or wrong. There's no Republican, Democrat, right? There's no Yankees, Red Sox. There's no duality, man. It's just isness. Things just are. Just are. I talk about this in depth in the seminar, the beginning of the seminar. It'll probably be right at the beginning of the book, because it's an important concept to understand right off the rip, right from the jump. Inner versus outer. It's when we transcend time, age, gender, duality, language, and we go deep, 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 deep within ourselves. That's when we find out the answers. And some people try to get there through other means, like psychedelic drugs, mushrooms and whatnot, DMT, you know, ayahuasca. But these, you can get to those states without the drug, without the plant. And that's why the masters have so much experiential knowledge. That's why people bow at their feet and listen to them, because they've reached these, states of being. States of being. Meditation is a state of being. Meditation is not a thing you do. It's a state of being. You gotta go deep within yourself. You can't do that with church and temple. Again, church and temple is fine. Go to as much church and temple services as you want. That's fine. I encourage it because it's tradition and it's community. It's not a bad thing. I encourage people to keep going to church and temple or whatever it is that you're into. All right, we got another mic set up.
Hey.
Hi, Tina. Tina has joined this episode. You got pulled over by the police?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do wrong?
I was getting directions on my phone.
Why, you've been here millions of times.
I was taking my daughter's friend somewhere. I had to drop them off and
Oh.
taxi mom for a few.
How much was the ticket?
$150. And then he has the nerve to say, you should plead not guilty.
Yeah.
So why are you bothering and taking up an hour of my time if I should plead not guilty, dude?
Look at the date.
Huh?
Look at the date.
Look at the date right now.
It's the end of the month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
quotas.
they have quotas, yeah.
Jerk.
So this is a good segue, okay? I'm talking about inner life versus outer life. What just happened to you, this inconvenience, this annoyance, this, why? It's outer, right? It's outer life. It has nothing to do with your inner life. In outer life, we have circumstances that happen. This is where the so-called karma happens, and
My karma for taking the day off and going to the pool today. How dare me. Go to work, stupid. Yeah.
well, that's circumstantial, and that's the outer life. Things happen to us. Things change constantly. I like to say our circumstances like the weather. It just constantly changes. You can never really predict the weather. Though even the weatherman's wrong all the time. Best time the weatherman is right is day of. Like if you want to know what the weather's going to be at 7 p.m., look at it at 4 p.m. Mm-hmm. That's when they understand it the day of. When they're saying next Thursday is going to be rainy, they're like wrong all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's like our circumstances constantly changing over and over. We stub our toe. We get pulled over by the police. And we get broken up with.
By the police.
We get we get into an argument with a friend or a family member. We have to move. Our car breaks down. It's just so many things can happen all the time. Mm-hmm. Just changes like the weather.
When it rains, it pours too.
That's what they say. But the inner life is completely different. And that's the beauty of it. And what I was saying before you walked in is that the inner life can greatly affect the outer life. But the outer life doesn't affect the inner life. So it's an interesting thing there. And some people think that the outer life does affect the inner life, but it's not true.
You let it.
People will say like, I don't like where I live, and I would meditate more, but I just don't like where I live. Or I hear people do this with food all the time. Like I want to eat more fruits and vegetables, but I don't have a good grocery store around me. We're always looking for excuses. And the bottom line is, you can always do your meditation section of the inner peace practice. You can always do the conscious eye. You can always do the centeredness of the mind. You can always do confinement. I mean, you have to pick your poison on the confinement, but it's always available. I tell people, like, if they don't like the household they're in, I'm like, wake up early. Oh, you got a noisy house? Wake up before everyone else. You're going to get 2 hours of silence. Mm-hmm. It's like we just have to find our ways around our circumstance. Like my mentor always says, the blue antelope. I call him the blue antelope. He always says, your practice will protect you. So no matter what happens to you on the outside, your practice maintains your peace all the time.
What about when it comes to money, though? Because, boy, oh boy.
Money is a very big stress in our lives. Yeah. There's no finances in the inner life. But on our outer life, apparently they set up society so that you have to, pay for it. Mm-hmm. And we're the only animals that pay to be here. Mm-hmm.
That's why I want to go live with monkeys on an island.
We have to make money, especially if we have children. But we don't have to necessarily have a job that we don't like. There's tons of jobs out there. There's ways around this. Like, I've said this I think before, but I'm very into the nomad RV community, and watching people just buy a trailer for like $3,000, turn it into a home, and they're gone. And all they do is they make $500 a month, and they live off $500 a month. They're out of society. The only time they're in society is when they need to stop at Walmart and pick up some water or something. Like, they're out. And so, similar to living in a monastery or an ashram, it's just an example of, you don't have to be a part of this if you don't want to. You don't. And they won't tell you that on television or wherever, because society would crumble. But there's a big RV community out there. I mean, it's massive. And of course, there's tons of people living at monasteries. And
they have a
ashrams.
show like that?
Well, you go on YouTube and find people. There's this one gentleman by the name of Bob Wells. I'm giving people info here. Bob Wells, he's like the popular guy on YouTube. And he shows you how to do stuff like that.
But isn't that being part of society if you're on YouTube?
No, because what you do is it's part of your budget to get a Wi-Fi hotspot, and you have Wi-Fi all the time. It's actually cheaper than having a phone. Like, you don't need a phone. I think about turning my phone off all the time. There's no reason for me to have Verizon. I can't justify it. I'd lose my phone number that I've had for 15 years, but that's just an attachment. I could talk to you just as easy on Facebook Messenger. Free. So what am I paying Verizon for? So anyway, these RVers, they pay $30-$40 a month for the hotspot, and they're in their vehicle anyway, so they can communicate through their, Messenger or wherever, whatever. You can get a Google Voice line for free, right? That's what we use for Eat the Sunlight. So, boom, they take off. Insurance on the vehicle. And they're some are living off of $500-$600 a month. A lot of them are older women who have retired. They're like 67-year-old women with little dogs. They almost all have dogs. All right?
For companionship?
Yeah, and then some of them don't have enough money to get a nice trailer. They live in vans. Some of them, I seen one living in a car. They take the front seat out, and that's where they sleep. Now they have a bed right there. So these are all outer life options.
When I was in high school, that was my dream, to get a Volkswagen van and like travel around and live in it.
Yeah.
And then I had a kid. That ended.
It changes things,
Dun,
huh?
dun, dun, dun. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But there's so many ways to skin this cucumber. And, one of the ways is finding a job. If you're going to stay, find a job that isn't stressful. One that you don't attach to. Like working at a library might be one of them. Working at Home Depot might be one of them. Because it's kind of like I fantasize about like working at somewhere like Home Depot. Because, I spent my 20s in the entertainment business, which is basically like being an entrepreneur. Then I spent my 30s being a health professional, which was being an entrepreneur. So the thought of doing something simple is intriguing. Like, oh, I have to put this on the shelf?
I pick things up, I put things down.
Right. When you're an entrepreneur, it's, I got to make sure the Facebook's doing this, got to do this. Oh, the website's doing this. Oh, I got to do that. Oh, I got to call this person, got to do that. And it's details. Like it can get exhausting. And this is the essence of ashrams and monasteries. If you stay at an ashram or monastery, I'm going to the ashram next week. I'm going just for a retreat, so I don't have to do any work. But if I was living there, you do housekeeping, you work in the kitchen. If you're handy, you help out landscaping or whatever. It's kind of nice, you earn your keep for room and board. Same thing with the monastery. I'm living at a monastery soon in the mountains, and we'll just chop wood, and I'll probably get in the kitchen because they see the nutrition stuff on the resume, so they'll probably throw me in there. Housekeeping, I welcome it. Let me make some beds. I'm down. I'm down. Throw me in the kitchen. I'll cut the carrots.
I got this.
I got this. And I'm training myself to cut with my left hand because my right hand's so screwed up from computers my whole life. So now I'm learning my left hand, which is kind of fun in a weird kind of way. So what's better? I don't know. It depends on the person. doing odd jobs in a monastery ashram for room and board, being around like-minded people who want to meditate and sing and dance, or being in society and working for your room and board in a different kind of way. In other
To
words,
make somebody else rich.
right, you make $2,000 a month, and your bills are $1,800 a month. Now you got $200 left, and then you get pulled over by the cops, and there goes that $200.
Shut up.
So,
I'll get my way out of it.
so, you know, an interesting dynamic, you know. But our outer life, these circumstances, they change. And some people may like it. Some people are like naturally born family people. Like, they can't wait to have 3 kids.
Naturally born, like, corporate America people.
Yeah, you have to. Well, those are typically the egomaniacs. The go.
Like, chasing.
Achieve.
I see people at work, like, the difference between me and them, they hate their job, but the money entices them, so they'll deal with the misery for extra money and push for another job that they know they're going to hate even more, but it's extra money.
Right.
So
And it becomes
money encourages them. I can't.
This is what I call carrot chasing, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has to chase the carrot.
That doesn't work for me, though.
And it's an interesting cycle, because now that money, like, let's just say they make $100,000 a year. Now that supports their lifestyle. They want that nice house. They want that nice 3-4 bedroom house. Boom. They want those 3 nice vacations a year. Boom. They want the nice car. Boom. Right? And now that gives them their status. But now the thing that they probably maybe not realize is that now they're stuck. You're stuck.
Yeah.
If they lose that job, they're in trouble. Big time trouble. Because now America's got you by the gonads. Right? You're in debt. You're this, you're that. And so it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
The other thing about the outer life is the emotions. You know, the anger and the envy and the fear and all that. There's no emotions on the inner. It's just calm, cool, blissed out. And like I said to you before, when you can get to a state of higher inner peace, you can watch the grass grow, listen to the birds sing, and just, be gone. You're not part of anything. You're a part of everything natural, like everything that breathes. Everything that needs the sun, everything that needs the oxygen, you're part of that whole. You dissolve into that whole, a part of the whole. That's where the word holy comes from. And then later it was used in health, holistic, whole, dissolving into the whole. So our outer life, we let our emotions go crazy. Somebody gets us mad, and now we're mad. Now we build resentment, and then we're scared, right? We don't want to lose our job. These emotions, man, people can become a prisoner, especially the fear. Fear and anger are the 2 big ones. And then in the outer life, we have time. Everything's on a clock. Oh, everything's on a clock. Oh my gosh. And our age and our gender, and it's all this hoopla that in the Eastern traditions is called Maya, which means illusion. And the illusion that they're speaking of is that all form is empty. So emptiness is form, and form is emptiness. So the idea is that, this table is really empty. If we put it underneath the microscope, it's not a table anymore. And so everything around us, this whole room, these microphones, they're all material. But material needs to be made of something. And so it's completely layered. And on top of that, we have our ego. And our ego makes us think we're something that we're not. It makes us think that, again, ego is based on importance, identity, and control. And so now we have this little con man in our head. It's like the movie Avatar, where people are inside of these robotic things, but there's a man controlling it. That's like our ego. Our ego's in our mind controlling it. Like, whew, think about this, think about that. Oh, no. No, you're important. You're important. Make sure they know you're important. And this is our downfall. And this is our outer life. And to get to the inner life, we have to dissolve this ego, and we have to have an understanding of, one, what ego is, and two, that we're living in an illusion. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. It's a dream.
I'm ready to wake up.
We have to wake up. And that's the whole point of this podcast. And we have little awakenings. And that's where they have like the slang word woke. Oh yeah, he's woke, man. Oh yeah, I'm woke. But you can't be woke if you're daydreaming. You have to stay in the present moment. That's the anchor to everything. So that's the centered mind from the meditation section of this inner peace practice. So inner has to be a priority. It has to be a priority, because then your outer will be it'll just kind of be like a whatever, man. Got pulled over by cops. Whatever, man.
Well, I kind of was like whatever, man, until you gave me that $150 ticket. I was like, oh no, more money.
Oh my gosh. Now I understand. We have these annoyances. A few weeks ago, my car went in for a regular checkup, so to speak, and I've been there for a week. And they misdiagnosed it. They ended up giving me some money back. Some. It wasn't planned. These things happen. They just happen. Everyone has it. And again, we're right back to the ego. We have to know that when we feel singled out and we feel that this is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? That's ego. Because you're identified with yourself. With me. I. This is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? People who are like, woe is me, always complaining. That's ego. And we think of ego as like more of a braggadocious thing, but it's the opposite too. It's the woe is me's. It's the depression. And people get depressed because they're not living up to the expectation of the ego. Oh, I'm not important enough, so I'm depressed. Or they go back and forth. And this is what they call bipolar. Back and forth. You're super high, super high, super high. Super low, super low, super low. But when we gain inner peace, even keel. All the way through. All the way through. There's no ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. The outer life doesn't affect the inner life, but the inner life affects the outer life.
You don't
completely.
think it's easier to have inner peace if you have a winning lotto ticket or an abundance of money?
No. No, that's just the outer life. It helps your circumstance, and no, And look at a lot of these athletes, 23 years old, rich, and then they're in the news for something. Look at all the suicides. Rich people committing suicide all the time. Or getting addicted to drugs. I think everyone wants inner peace. But they don't know what it is. And they're stuck in the Western world, which is go, 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 go. Chase, 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 chase. Everybody's chasing something. Everybody's chasing carrots, man. Chasing carrots.
I was talking to my friend from India the other day. He's like, well, what's wrong with American people? They're so different. He's been here for 19 years now.
Yeah.
I remember when I first met him, I was like, are you sure you want to be here? But he says that Japan is the best country, and he's been to I think 40-something countries.
Yeah. I based on my research, that's correct. Japan is healthy.
The weather's good. Climate.
The weather's the only problem with Japan is they have they have earthquakes.
Tsunamis too, right?
They have earthquakes, which bring on tsunamis, and they don't have a lot of land. They're piled on top of each other. But if you took Japan's society and brought it over to America, America's got the best land. We got the best land. We got this huge chunk of land that's just amazing. And we got an East Coast and a West Coast, and it's different. You can, get the flavor of both. Japan they're not violent. They're very healthy. They got good technology. They're smart. And they're spiritual. And America's not spiritual. America's religious. It's not spiritual.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said people are, instead of looking for God, they're looking for drugs. But I think that's our way of looking for God.
Well,
kind of. Well, people don't even know that that's what they're doing.
I would replace the word drugs with stimulation.
Yeah.
America's very stimulated. Everything is, I gotta watch.
It's known for money. That's why people come here for money.
Yeah, but it's just that stimulation of going up and down and up. I gotta watch my favorite show. I gotta do this line of cocaine. I gotta go get some Taco Bell. I gotta, I gotta go have this sex. I gotta go
see this breezy concert.
Well, yeah, go to these concerts. I gotta. Everything is stimulation. Everything is trying to make the needle go up. Go up. And that's what they consider a good life. And so that was the major awakening that I had back in 2012 when I met the blue antelope. This gentleman was not needed. He didn't need any stimulation. So it's mind-blowing when you come across it for the first time. No stimulation.
So he doesn't have sex?
Well,
ever?
I'm sure he does. But sex is
it's not supposed to be stimulating. Well,
no, it depends on how you have it. It
should be a spiritual connection if you're doing it right.
Yeah, but when you have sex like a porn star, that's stimulation.
Right. But if it's not like that.
Yeah, and when you have sex, like tantric sex, or just kind of slow and melodic, and how it's, I don't want to say supposed to be, because there is no supposed to be, but I'm just saying that
natural.
It's been corrupted, just like television's been corrupted, just like the food's been corrupted.
Well, is it even supposed to be for pleasure, or is it just supposed to be for reproduction? Like animals, do they get pleasure out of it?
No, it's for pleasure.
So animals get pleasure out of it?
Animals are a little different. Animals are in the present moment already.
Right. So but they don't get any pleasure out of it? They just do it to reproduce?
Some do. Like dolphins do. Pigs
What, they do it for pleasure?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. And monkeys, of course. Or I should say apes. But you got to understand. How are we talking? Why did you take a left turn?
I don't know. I'm curious.
The police ticket messed you all up. So when you have an orgasm, you're thrown into the present moment. Okay, you're not thinking about your bills. You're not thinking about what you got to do tomorrow.
Maybe that's why I like it so much.
So people become addicted to the orgasm. In Tantra and other traditions, it's taught to have sex in a certain way so that you can use sex as a tool to bring you to the highest planes, which is samadhi or satori or whatever you want to call it. So it's supposed to be like a tool, basically. But when you start pulling hair and smacking booty and talking dirty, now you're just performing a corrupted act that was conditioned into our mind by the society. And it's all very strategic because they don't want people to transform the consciousness, inner peace.
Ooh, we gotta do a podcast on just that.
I think that this goes back to the clean living episode, staying away from certain music, certain TV shows, certain movies, pornography, of course, and just keeping our mind clean, because it's so dirty. We're so corrupted. Just the television alone, and the movies alone. I mean, how much violence have we witnessed in our lives? Fake violence, yes, but still, their goal is to make it feel real, right? So we're corrupted with violence, with sex. We're just completely corrupted with drugs, lying. What would be a good TV show without lying? Problems. We're socially engineered. Problems. This puts us into like almost a fight or flight. Mm-hmm. It's like it's almost like every American that's in the society is almost walking around with some sort of form of PTSD. And we'll just call that neuroses. We're all neurotic. We're suffering from anxiety, depression, bipolar, or just what I went through in my 20s being in entertainment. I don't know what to call it. I would just call it constant ups and downs. Constant super excitement and then constant disappointment. Up, down, up, down, up,
Why
down,
disappointment?
up, down. Because you're chasing. That's the problem.
Chasing the high.
We're always chasing status. So, okay, I'm not even in that industry anymore, but they could still be used. Like a short clip could be used. Oh, check out Dr. Reese. 10 years ago, and maybe one day, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Look, the old guy with the beard and the gray beard. Look at him. He interviewed Drake. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's all that work, all that time spent, were technically for nothing. But other people think it's so cool. You met Drake? Oh my gosh.
No.
More people care about me meeting Drake and interviewing him
Than you saving lives.
and me helping people with their health. I could rescue someone from a burning building, and people will care more about that Drake. Right. You met Drake.
The way people are with famous people is insane.
Right.
Like, they're just people.
Right. And I forgot to mention that on the celebration episode. In America, we celebrate people, which is why it's called celebrities.
Yeah. I was just talking to a girl, actually, that I picked up while I was doing Lyft. She's a teacher, and we were talking about a bunch of stuff, and she was saying how much she gets paid. And we're saying like how, celebrities get millions and billions of dollars and they're, just entertaining, but then people that are teaching our kids and the next generation that's going to take care of us all make chump change. Ridiculous.
And the firefighters. And things
cops
like that.
And
cops, sure. They put their life on the line as much as you are annoyed at him for giving you a ticket. He is there.
Not all of them.
He is there to protect us. But look, the celebrities get a lot of money because America is based on 3 basic principles. It's based on military, it's based on money, and it's based on entertainment.
Yep.
Anything outside of those 3, we're not looking so hot. Not compared to someone like Japan. So, and the biggest celebrity here is Jesus Christ. He's the biggest celebrity there is. I mean, they blew him through the roof. I mean, he's even bigger than Dwayne Johnson.
Are you sure?
I think Dwayne Johnson's a close second at this point. Jokes aside, yes, we idolize celebrities so much so that we faint and we go crazy for them, and oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And people tattoo, like people are walking around with Dwayne Johnson tattoos.
Yeah.
People are walking around with Michael Jackson tattoos, etc. In India, it's more based on the guru. You meet a spiritual master who changes your life, and it's a transformational experience. And they're the ones that are remembered 30 years after they're dead. America, it's remembering Marlon Brando 30 years after he's dead, or Michael Jackson, or whatever. So it's different cultures, and it's clearly here. It's very engineered. It's very it's manufactured. So anyway, I want to wrap this up by just again, inner life is different than the outer life. Your outer life is your circumstance and what's going on with you, how you look, how you feel, who you live with, who you're married to, etc., what your job is, etc. Your inner life is formless. There's nothing there. It's nothingness. And that's how we get our inner peace. We're going to get our inner peace by going inside of ourselves and doing the meditation section of this inner peace practice. And then the other 2 sections also go along with it, so we can have a nice balance. And if you practice all 9, then, cool things are going to start happening to you. And you're going to, all the crap that's going to happen to you on your outer life is going to just be a shoulder shrug. It's all going to be, okay. Oh, cool. I mean, there's still responsibilities and there's still planning and stuff like that you need to do, but it's once you realize it's all a dream, life isn't as serious anymore. It's just like Sri Brahmananda was saying. I was reading an essay he wrote, and he's the guru from Ananda Ashram, the ashram I go to. And it's like he was saying is, our bodies get sick, but disease is different. So he's saying that sickness and disease are different. He's saying sickness is the actual thing that happens to the body. Disease is mental, he's saying. Dis-ease. In other words,
disease.
You're not
at ease.
You're not at ease. And he used spiritual masters as examples. That Osho had asthma and diabetes. That Ramana Maharshi had arthritis and ended up with cancer. Ram Dass had a stroke. Thich Nhat Hanh had a stroke. So there's all these spiritual guys who have had health issues, but they've never had a disease because they know how to handle it, because they don't take it that serious. So just imagine having an awful disease and just kind of being like, oh, whatever. All right, whatever. in the Western world, it's
like everything revolves around that.
Right. You're going to go on Facebook and be like, I have cancer of the left pinky toe and my life is over and I can't pay my bills. And it's like you're just going to go online and you're going to vent and blah, blah, blah. But when you have inner peace, when you make your inner life good to go, all of that is, it's irrelevant. It's like, oh, cancer of the little toe. Isn't that funny?
Cut it off.
Oh, whatever. Interesting. Most fascinating books I've ever read was The First Buddha in the Dentist Chair, which was a story of one of Osho's disciples who was a dentist. And Osho would come in and, you know, he had some teeth that needed to be taken out and stuff like that. And so the dentist saw how Osho handled the pain. He was a first-hand witness, and he was just amazed how this man was able to transcend it and how ill he was, how sick he was, and it's just able to transcend it because he already transcended life. You know, he became enlightened at 21 years old. So that's a lot of time, from 21 all the way into your mid-50s. That's a lot of time to be living on earth as carefree as anyone can be. Ramana Maharshi, same thing. He became enlightened at, I think it was 17, and he just went into a cave. And people just followed him, and they created an ashram, and he lived till, I think he was in his 70s, and he died from cancer. And he just transcended it all. You just, you know, once you transcend it, we're right back to the row, row, row your boat. Life is but a dream. It's all a dream. If you have the ability to dream, literally, while you're sleeping, and then you go through life and you daydream, it's all a dream. We're making up all of it with our stupid little egos. We're making it all up as we go. It's not as serious as we think. Life is a mystery school. That's all it is. It's just this huge mystery we're just supposed to learn as we go. That's why I've said, probably on this podcast, that our kids should stop going to school around 13. There's nothing more to learn. That's it. You know how to read. You know how to write.
Yeah. Then they just start cramming them with the lies.
Right.
They don't teach anything how to do in life.
High school is a big brainwashing on how to either get a job or go to jail. We got to get this inner life thing down. We have to understand that inner life is different than the outer life. And I hope this podcast sheds some more light on that. Of course, listen to all of them. Listen to all the episodes. Try to listen to one every day. And the first 10 or 12 are very, very important. So,
who's down with that PP?
Yeah, you know me.
Thanks for listening to Inner Peace with Dr. Reese. If this episode opened your heart, feel free to share on social media and tell your loved ones. Also, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, may peace be with you.